Now we are going to look at module 2, which is on data. Do you remember that in our first module, module 1, we understand, okay, you have already understood what cloud technology is, and we know that in order to utilize the cloud technology for data storage, we are going to upload our data to the cloud. All right, for future data analysis, for future data retrieval, and so on. So, since we are going to use the common use of cloud technology is for data storage, all right, besides accessing various advanced computing resources and remote access to web app or for databases and so on. We have to further understand what data is, okay, in this module. So in this process, data process flow here, this is actually a data migration process flow. In order to make use of cloud technology, okay, from the perspective of data analysis, data visualization, and using the advanced maybe machine learning algorithm available, okay, from the cloud, okay. So we are going to do a process called data migration. In order to upload our data to the cloud for whatever purpose, all right, no matter for future data retrieval, for future data analysis, or for future data access, okay, or for future data insights derivation, we still have to upload data to the cloud, okay, and therefore in our data migration to the cloud, we start from this first step, which is called data ingestion. Data ingestion is a process of collecting and pushing data to the cloud. All right. And then after they are being pushed to the cloud, we will have a data pipeline. Data pipeline is a, you can say that it is a process that connect. All right. You can say it is a connecting tissue or connecting mechanism that stream, okay, our data that we inject into our data lake. Data lake is actually a repository for the native data. Native data means that the data that has not been processed or has not been transformed, the data that exists in its native, in its original form. This type of data will be stored in our data lake. And data that has been, okay, so we have a very large pool or massive volume of data in our data lake. And the data in the data lake is available in its native format. And therefore, in order to allow all this massive amount of data to be able to be processed, we need to do another process called ETL. ETL is is a mechanism, okay, that allow the data to be extracted, to be cleaned, to be transformed, okay, to a structured format so that it can be loaded into our data warehouse. All right, data warehouse is also another highly structured kind of data repository, whereby the data stored here is highly structured, and therefore this data can be readily go for the data analysis, okay, to be analyzed and then to be presented in a report form or a dashboard form or chart form or graph form. All right. So this is a series of steps, okay, or sub-processes involved in our data migration, the data that could be migrated from our local system, all right, and data coming from our local system, it could be from our ERP system, all right, our in-house information system, ERP system, or it could be from our Facebook official account or whatever web app that we have online, or maybe IoT devices data. All this data can be ingested, okay, into these steps. All right, so that the data can be collected and pushed and then go to the data pipeline, okay, which is a connecting tissue that connect all of our data into to the data lake, all right, whereby it store our native data and then transform, then get data to be transformed into a highly structured data so that it can be for analyze and for visualization. So these are the typical steps that organization will do when they try to migrate their local data, all right, all data sources into the cloud for future or for further, all right, for future and for further data analysis and visualization. And this set of cloud data applications, okay, data cloud solution, all right, the service is being offered by a cloud service provider named Google Cloud Platform. All right, so these are the different online services offered by GCP, Google's GCP, for different steps or different sub-processes involved in our data migration process. Okay, migrating data from our local data center or from anywhere around the world, okay, into our migrate and integrating all the data into a single source, okay, for future data analysis and data visualization in the cloud.